Hi guys, George here from Zero Period Productions, and today on Skyrim's mod showcase, we're taking a look at Project Proteus by Phenderix. Project Proteus is an incredibly fleshed out and responsive in-game editor tool, allowing for much easier and more intuitive ways to make various changes in your game without use of console commands or even the creation kit itself. The mod covers a wide variety of ways in which you can change and modify your game, from making edits to your own characters to NPCs, making adjustments to weapons, armor, and even instantly changing in-game weather. Proteus is only available on PC, and this is due to some of the mods needed in order to run it, but it is available both for Skyrim Classic as well as Special Edition. To start, let's talk about how you begin to access all of this. Once you have Proteus as well as its required mods installed, you'll load up your game and be greeted by several new spells. The very first of which we're going to look at is the Proteus Wheel, which brings up a radial menu to make accessing all the other spells that much easier. To me, it's always amazing to see how much mods can fundamentally change the game. Even adding new menu designs like this is absolutely amazing when you think about it from the technical side of things. From the radial menu, we're first going to take a look at the player menu, which has some really useful tools, some of which I don't know if I've seen in other mods before. You're able to make saves of your player character, as well as create backups of them, which can then be loaded into other save games. So, say you have an Argonian character and a Nord character. While playing on your Nord, you can bring the Argonian character into that world save. For any characters that you do want saved in the system, you will have to load them up and use the save feature from the radial menu. After that, any and all saved characters should be compatible in other world saves that you have. When saving a player character, you do have a couple different options, such as saving everything about them, or simply importing certain spells or abilities, or even just their looks. On top of this, you can create appearance presets, should you have one character appearance that you want to easily duplicate for other saves. You're also able to summon a copy of your own character as a follower, including your current character or any other saved characters you have through the Proteus system. Other player menu features include being able to easily edit your own skills, attributes, and stats, change your player's factions such as Bandit, Forsworn, Thalmor, etc., and even make your player perform different idle animations. Now, that's probably not a big deal for most people, but if you're trying to get a cool screenshot, it's a nice little feature. One feature of the player menu that I really like and think can be a game changer for Skyrim in general is the ability to swap between your player characters while in the same game world. This to me is crazy and really cool. From the technical side alone, being able to have multiple characters in one save, meaning that you can go from a full warrior character to a full mage character in seconds. Now, you might be wondering why you would need this or want this as a feature in Skyrim. For me, my mind immediately goes towards role-playing, especially when it comes to questlines like the Dark Brotherhood or the Thieves Guild. You can have a main character in your world who is more morally upstanding and doesn't touch those guilds, and then create a secondary, more morally dubious character on which you would play those guilds. I think there's some really cool and creative ways that people can use this, and for me, it's just cool to see that it exists and functions in-game. There are of course some limitations, and I think that's to be expected. When playing multiple characters in the same save, there are a handful of things that don't really transfer over. Quest progress is specific to the world save itself, meaning that any characters you import and play in the same save game will have the same quest log synced up. So yes, while you can have a different character complete the Dark Brotherhood or Thieves Guild, the quest progress and completions will still be tracked for your main character. It'll more so be about how you want to balance those things from a roleplay standpoint. Players' reputations with different NPCs and factions will also carry over across all characters in a save game, as well as what shouts are unlocked. In the end, I imagine that these limitations are due to Skyrim itself, and that Bethesda never really intended on mod authors trying to make it so you could play multiple characters in the same save file. Given that you can spawn saved characters as followers, you can almost think of this as an extended companion system of sorts, where you could in theory play out different quests on those followers. The mod author says that these features are really helpful in certain scenarios, such as creating backups for characters for future saves, or getting access to a character who might be on a corrupted save game, and bringing them over to a safe spot. Next up is the NPC menu, and there's a lot of similarities between what you can do in the player menu versus this one. To get started, simply have your cursor on an NPC that you want to make changes to, and then bring up the menu. From here, you can customize NPC appearances, skills, stats, etc. You can teach them new spells or make them forget ones that they already know. You can mark NPCs as recruitable followers, you can toggle marriage options on and off, you can also mark them as essential or killable, and even kill them from this menu. You can duplicate them, resurrect them, change their size, and remove dead bodies from the world. You're also able to change their voice, which might be useful for imported character saves that you're using as followers. And once again, for people looking for good screenshots, you can make NPCs perform any of the 20 different idle animations. Now, a lot of these things can be accomplished through console commands. Some can be done through simple changes in the creation kit, and others take a little bit more know-how in the creation kit. The beauty of this mod is that it's a one-stop shop for these features, so you're not required to memorize console commands, learn the creation kit, or download a handful of different mods to get some of these various features. For me, the player and NPC menus are the real stars of the show, but that's only 2 sections of what the mod covers. The mod also includes full menus for weapon, armor, and spells. With the weapon section of Proteus, you have the ability to change attributes of a weapon, including damage and speed. You can make temporary edits or make these edits permanent across all saved games. The same can be done for armor and clothing, giving you a chance to really make universal changes to gear across your entire Skyrim install. This is one of those things where I definitely recommend people to err on the side of caution. Once you start making permanent changes that impact your entire install, you run the risk of throwing off balance in the game. Sometimes in your favor, sometimes not. It's easy to forget what changes you made when making a new character, or stepping away from the game for a couple months, only to come back and wonder why bandits are suddenly so strong. The inclusion of these tools is not a problem. The thing is to keep what changes you make in mind. The spells menu is very similar in this regard. You can change attributes and make temporary or permanent edits to various spells throughout the game. One great aspect of this menu is the ability to unlearn spells, or even dispel all magical effects on the player. Finally, we have the weather system. This one is pretty straightforward, and essentially functions as a menu for changing weathers, the same way that one might do so through console commands. While a simple addition, it's a very convenient tool, and truth be told, the only weather code I know off the top of my head is to set the current weather to clear. This is yet another part of the mod that I can see being really helpful for YouTubers, or anyone looking to get some really nice in-game screenshots. As I mentioned earlier in the video, there are some prerequisite mods that you'll need in order to use Proteus. The first on the list is Skyrim Script Extender, which doesn't come as much of a surprise. For a mod like this, you typically need SKSE in order to pull off some of the more complex features. Next up is JContainers, which allows for the permanent saves to weapons, armors, spells, etc. UI Extensions, which allows for all the menus to work properly. Race Menu, which makes it possible to take full advantage of the character swap system, as well as make appearance changes to NPCs in-game. Finally, we have Console Util SSE, which provides some much needed script functions that allow the mod to function. Despite having a few requirements, these requisite mods, as well as Proteus itself, are easy to install and can be done pretty quickly. In the end, Project Proteus is a mod that I can see a lot of people having fun with. It's a mix of incredibly useful tools to have at the press of a button, while also letting you mess around with the game, its characters, and even your own player. Not everyone remembers every console command. I know I don't, and sometimes it's much more convenient to have an in-game tool that allows for these quick edits. Not having to rely on Google to find some of these commands, or having to learn the creation kit to make these changes, makes Project Proteus a game changer. Saving, importing, and even swapping characters is pretty fast, although it does take slightly longer for characters with more time played, especially if you have a higher level, more skills acquired, so on and so forth. The ability to quickly form a party of your other player characters is something we've seen in a couple other mods, but the ease of it in Project Proteus is something that really stands out to me. Swapping weathers is instantaneous, and editing weapons, armor, and stats for NPCs is super intuitive and laid out. The mod author did a great job with the UI and laid everything out in an organized manner, something I really commend him for. This is something that I can see myself keeping installed from now on. It's pretty lightweight, so it shouldn't have much, if any, of a negative impact on your game's performance. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Skyrim mod showcase. If you get a chance to download Project Proteus and you find that you like it, make sure to leave an endorsement on the mod. Similarly, if you enjoyed this video, why not leave a like below? I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.